This is a RasTafarI declaration of the divine presence of Jah, in guiding and protecting the people of the world. Reflecting on the historical and spiritual significance of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I. Intertwining biblical references from the biblical text, of people's struggles against hegemony, imperialism, and colonialism, and the fulfillment of biblical prophecy in world history. To observe the sociopolitical dynamics of historically oppressed nations and peoples, and the faith and resilience of those who endure. The call for unity among all Africans, urging all to recognize our heritage and the prophetic significance of our struggles. The importance of discerning historical context regarding the rise and fall of empires, our place in the universe, and identity. A prayer of faith, resilience, and a call to action for justice. To recognize the divine sovereignty of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I, King of Zion. And a testimony to the fulfillment of prophecy. Jah peace prevail. Jah is the way, Jah in movement and repose, Jah love creation, Jah long time, Jah give us life to live, Jah you see where we are going, Jah rule my destiny, Jah guide and shield I, Jah bless indeed. To the instructor for the King's delight, His word thy workmanship will write, welcome the author's address by mail this wait, send now the captain's egress to sail this freight, secure rescue is calling black night. May the rain fall rain to bless today even tonight, even the weather just is growing all right, in Jah right hand behold His might, thy glory in Him we know is bright. Holy Mount Zion I is white in height, O city of the Almighty in sight, is where I and I no fuss nor fight, who endure hunger and thirst and plight, O earth culture roots and shoots survive no blight. The way of the eagle in flight, softly soaring on lofty holding so tight, suspense in splendor seems so slender so slight, look in their eyes and see that there ain't no fright. Hence, we hail and proclaim the light of this world now let thy grace alight, henceforth even forevermore, straight. Greetings in the divine name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I, and Her Imperial Highness Empress Menen Asfa. King of kings and Lord of lords, the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, Jah RasTafarI. Who lives and rules and reigns from Mount Zion in the hearts of flesh of I. Ever living, ever giving, ever loving, Jah is the Almighty. This is a message to all Africans at home and all Africans abroad. I will sing of Jah mercies forever. With my mouth will I make known thy faithfulness to all generations. Psalms 89 verse 1. It is the glory of God to conceal a thing, but the glory of kings is to search out a matter. Proverbs 25 verse 2. Blessed is he that reads, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein. For the time is at hand. Revelation 1 verse 3. For the testimony of Yehoshua ha-Mashiach is the spirit of prophecy. Revelation 19 verse 10. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is Lord of lords, and King of kings. And they that are with him are called, and chosen, and faithful. Revelation 17 verse 14. But I will show you that which is noted in the scripture of truth. And there is none that upholds me in these things, but Michael your prince. Daniel 10 verse 21. Behold, he comes with the clouds. And every eye shall see him, and they also who pierced him. And all tribes of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, Amen. Revelation 1 verse 7. Third, in every line in this history, where the name of another person is mentioned, it is not through partiality or enmity save in error, but you know that we are making our heart the judge to write only the truth. Preface to the autobiography of Him Emperor Haile Selassie I. My Life and Ethiopia's Progress, 1892–1937, Volume 1. This is a proclamation of the fulfillment of prophecy concerning the advent of the Anointed One, the root of David, King of Israel. Now hearken and hear I, to show I the true identity of the Savior of the people of the world, that Him. Emperor Haile Selassie I's appeal to the League of Nations on 12 May 1936 CE in Geneva is the fulfillment of Psalms 82. And that 1941 CE is the appointed time, written in the book of Daniel. Politics, religion, education, family, economy, and recreation. Academic behavior. Social standing. Political structure. familiar culture, religious heritage, fiscal matter, recreational faculty, empire. A political unit made of several territories, military outposts, and peoples, usually created by conquest, and divided between a dominant center and subordinate peripheries. Imperialism. Principle of perpetual territorial dominance and hegemony. Colonialism. Practice of perpetual territorial occupation and subjugation. Colonialism in its strict and historic sense means the practice of settling a large number of colonists in subject countries, as did the British in North America, Ireland, Southern Africa, Australia, and New Zealand, the French in Algeria, the Spanish and Portuguese in Latin America, and many parallel examples in the pre-modern world. Imperialism and colonialism organized. Academic associations, exploration societies, sea privateers, religious missionaries, trade companies, private companies, colonial administrations, and propaganda. 2 Esdras 11 verse 45. Imperialism and colonialism employed. Religious proselytism, academic subjugation, economic exploitation, industrial sabotage, military occupation, physical then mental slavery, social apartheid, cultural assimilation, and racial extermination. 2 Esdras 11 verse 42. Hegemony. The geopolitical, cultural, economic, and military predominance of one state over other states, regional or global. The Western powers, influential nations in Europe and North America, dominant in global politics, economics, and military affairs, established global hegemony by means of colonialism in Africa, Asia, and America. Hegemony is distinguished from empire as ruling only external but not internal affairs of other states. Zionism. A nationalist movement for originally the re-establishment and now development and protection of a Jewish nation in what is now the State of Israel, formally established as a political organization in 1897 CE under Theodor Herzl. The Zionist enterprise is an enterprise of conquest. Burl Katznelson, 1929 CE. The Zionist Federation of Great Britain and Ireland 1899 CE is an umbrella organization for the Zionist movement, established to campaign for a permanent homeland for the Jewish people in modern-day Palestine, said to be the Promised Land of Israel. But where is the Promised Land of Israel? It was the land promised to Abraham, which is, clearly from reading Genesis chapter 13, to the south of Egypt, up the river Nile, beyond the Great Desert. Tropical Africa. Following the establishment of the State of Israel, Zionism patronizes its development, protection and hegemony. Disenfranchisement and material alienation of peoples is inequity. Interpretation of the Book of Daniel chapter 7. 1. In the first year of Belshazzar king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream, and told the sum of the matters. 2. Daniel spoke and said, I saw in my vision by night, and, behold, the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea. Sea equals peoples, nations. 3. And four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The successive world empires since the time of Daniel. Babylonia, Achaemenid, Greco-Roman, and the Western Powers Empire. 4. The first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings. I beheld till its wings were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. Babylonia, 1890 to 539 BCE. 5. And behold another beast, a second, like a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in its mouth between its teeth. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. The Achaemenid Empire, 550 to 330 BCE, founded by Cyrus the Great, notably conquered 3 allied kings. King Croesus of Lydia, Amasis of Egypt, and Nabonidus of Babylon. 6. After this I beheld, and lo another, like a leopard, which had upon its back 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. The Greco-Roman Empire, 509 BCE to 395 CE, the 4 heads and the 4 wings show the divisions in this empire. Seleucid Empire, 312 to 63 BCE. Antigonid Empire, 306 to 168 BCE. Ptolemaic Empire, 305 to 30 BCE. Kingdom of Pergamon, 282 to 129 BCE. 7. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and broke in pieces, and stamped the residue with its feet. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns. Western powers, hegemonic institutions, in 10 colonial kingdoms. 8. I considered the horns, and, behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And, behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. The Balfour Declaration to the Zionist Federation, issued by the British government in 1917 CE during World War I to establish a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. The defeated German, Austro-Hungarian and Ottoman empires led to the abolition of their monarchies, ending the reigns of Wilhelm II, Charles I and Mehmed VI respectively. After World War II, the State of Israel was created in 1948 CE, Israeli proclamations of regional colonization and global hegemony. 9. I beheld till the thrones were set in place, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and its wheels as burning fire. 10. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. 11. I beheld then because of the voice of the great words which the horn spoke. I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed, and given to the burning flame. Israeli proclamations of colonization and global hegemony. 12. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away. Yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time. Western powers, imperial and colonial era. 13. I saw in the night visions, and, behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. 14. And there was given him dominion, and glory, and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages, should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. The ascension of Him Emperor Haile Selassie I and Hih Empress Menen Asfaw, to the throne and crown of Ethiopia 1930 CE. 15. I Daniel was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. 16. I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me, and made me know the interpretation of the things. 17. These great beasts, which are 4 kings, which shall arise out of the earth. The 4 successive world empires, after the time of Daniel. Babylonia, 1890 to 539 BCE. Achaemenid Empire, 550 to 330 BCE. Greco-Roman Empire, 27 to 395 CE, and Western powers after 395 CE. 18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom, and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. 19. Then I would know the truth of the 4th beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceedingly dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and its nails of bronze. Which devoured, broke in pieces, and stamped the residue with its feet. 20. And of the 10 horns that were on its head, and of the other which came up, and before which 3 fell. Even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spoke very great things, whose look was greater than its fellows. Horn equals kingdom, modern state of Israel 1948 CE, the state of Israel's domination over peer powers. 21. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them. 22. Until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. 23. Thus he said, the 4th beast shall be the 4th kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down, and break it in pieces. Western powers imperial and colonial global hegemony. 24. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise. and another shall rise after them. And he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. Western powers in the early modern period were the result of gradual process of centralization of power over the course of the Middle Ages. Ottoman Empire, circa 1299 to 1922 CE, Portuguese Empire, 1415 to 1999 CE, Spanish Empire, 1492 to 1976 CE, French Colonial Empire, 1534 to 1980 CE, Dutch Colonial Empire, 1595 to 1975 CE, British Empire, 1607 to 1997 CE, Italian Empire, 1882 to 1960 CE, German Colonial Empire, 1884 to 1920 CE, Austria-Hungarian Empire, 1867 to 1918 CE, Belgian Colonial Empire, 1908 to 1962 CE. The State of Israel was formed after the abolition of the German, Austro-Hungarian and Ottoman empires. 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time. Era of Western global hegemony, 322 to 1941 CE. 26. But the court shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. 27. And the kingdom and dominion, and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven, shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. 28. Here is the end of the matter. As for me Daniel, my thoughts much troubled me, and my countenance changed in me. But I kept the matter in my heart. Interpretation of the Book of Daniel chapter 8. 1. In the 3rd year of the reign of King Belshazzar a vision appeared unto me, even unto me Daniel, after that which appeared unto me at the first. 2. And I saw in a vision, and it came to pass, when I saw, that I was at Shushan in the palace which is in the province of Elam. And I saw in a vision, and I was by the river of Ulai. 3. Then I lifted up my eyes, and saw, and, behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns. And the 2 horns were high. But one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. The Achaemenid Empire, 550 to 330 BCE, equals Median and Old Persian. 4. I saw the ram pushing westward, and northward, and southward. So that no beasts might stand before him, neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand. But he did according to his will, and became great. 5. And as I was considering, behold, a male goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. Philip II of Macedon, 382 to 336 BCE, established the League of Corinth in 338 7th BCE, as the elected hegemon of the Greek Confederation, for a planned invasion of the Achaemenid Empire of Persia. Notably his immediate successor Alexander, achieved this in his stead. 6. And he came to the ram that had 2 horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran at him in the fury of his power. 7. And I saw him come close to the ram, and he was moved with rage against him, and struck the ram, and broke his 2 horns. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him, but he cast him down to the ground, and stamped upon him. And there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Alexander the Great's invasion of the Persian Empire, 334 to 330 BCE, to conquer the Achaemenid Empire under Darius III. 8. Therefore the male goat grew very great. And when he was strong, the great horn was broken. And instead of it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. The Wars of the Diadochi, 322 to 281 BCE, the Greco-Roman Empire was divided into mainly 4 kingdoms. Seleucid Empire, 312 to 63 BCE. Antigonid Empire, 306 to 168 BCE. Ptolemaic Empire, 305 to 30 BCE. Kingdom of Pergamon, 282 to 129 BCE. 9. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which grew exceedingly great, toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the glorious land. Ptolemaic Egypt, towards Cush, Arabia, and Western Europe. 10. And it grew great, even to the host of heaven. And it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them. 11. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. The desolation of Diemt, circa 10th to 4th century BCE. 12. And a host was given him to oppose the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression, and it cast down the truth to the ground. And it did this, and prospered. Western usurpations, plagiarisms, and punitive expeditions, to misappropriate biblical archaeology, and the true progeny of Jacob. 13. Then I heard one saint speaking, and another saint said unto that certain saint who spoke, How long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice, and the transgression of desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden under foot? 14. And he said unto me, For 2,300 days. Then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. 359 BCE up to 1941 CE equals 2,300. Philip II of Macedon built a confederation of Greece, the League of Corinth, laying the foundation of Alexander the Great's conquests. Subsequently, Ptolemy, Scipio, Caesar, Napoleon, Napier, Mussolini, Hitler. Aggressing the kings of the south, campaigning for conquest. Executing usurpations, plagiarisms, and punitive expeditions. Having elite companions, covert missions, for homeland glory. 15. And it came to pass, when I, even I Daniel, had seen the vision, and sought for the meaning, then, behold, there stood before me one having the appearance of a man. 16. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of Ulai, which called, and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. 17. So he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid, and fell upon my face. But he said unto me, Understand, O Son of Man, that for the time of the end shall be the vision. 18. Now as he was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep with my face toward the ground. But he touched me, and set me upright. 19. And he said, Behold, I will make you know what shall be in the latter end of the indignation. For at the time appointed the end shall be. 20. The ram which you saw having 2 horns are the kings of Media and Persia. 21. And the male goat is the king of Greece. And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. Philip II of Macedonia r. 359 to 336 BCE. And Alexander the Great r. 336 to 323 BCE. 22. As for that horn being broken, and the 4 that stood up in its place, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of that nation, but not with its power. 23. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors have come to their fullness, a king of bold countenance, and understanding riddles, shall stand up. 24. And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy awesomely, and shall prosper, and thrive, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. 25. And through his cunning also he shall cause deceit to prosper under his hand. And he shall magnify himself in his heart, and without warning shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes. But he shall be broken, by no human hand. 26. And the vision of the evening and the morning which was told is true, therefore shut up the vision. For it shall be many days hence. 27. And I Daniel fainted, and was sick certain days. Afterward I rose up, and did the king's business. And I was astonished at the vision, but none understood it. Interpretation of the Book of Daniel chapter 11. 1. Also I in the first year of Darius the Mede, even I, stood to confirm and to strengthen him. Darius the first the Mede. 2. And now will I show you the truth. Behold, there shall stand up yet 3 kings in Persia. And the 4th shall be far richer than them all. And by his strength through his riches he shall stir up all against the realm of Greece. Subsequent Achaemenid kings after Cyrus the Great. Daniel 10 verse 1. Cambyses II, 530 to 522 BCE. Gaumata the Magian, Pseudo-Smerdis, 552 BCE. Darius I the Great 522 to 486 BCE. Xerxes I, 486 to 465 BCE, reigned in the peak of the empire and the Second Persian invasion of Greece, 480 to 479 BCE. 3. And a mighty king shall stand up, that shall rule with great dominion, and do according to his will. Alexander the Great, 336 to 323 BCE. 4. And when he shall stand up, his kingdom shall be broken, and shall be divided toward the four winds of heaven. But not to his posterity, nor according to his dominion which he ruled. For his kingdom shall be plucked up, even for others besides these. The empire is divided. Cassander in Macedonia and Greece. Lysimachus eastward in Thrace and Asia Minor. Seleucus in Syria and Mesopotamia. Ptolemy in Egypt and Cyprus. 5. And the king of the south shall be strong, and one of his princes. And he shall be strong above him, and have dominion. His dominion shall be a great dominion. Ptolemy the First Soter, 367 to 282 BCE, a Macedonian Greek general and a successor of Alexander the Great, founder of the Ptolemaic kingdom. 305 to 282 BCE, whose descendants ruled Egypt until 30 BCE. 6. And at the end of some years they shall join themselves together. For the king's daughter of the south shall come to the king of the north to make an agreement. But she shall not retain the power of her authority. Neither shall he stand, nor his arm. But she shall be given up, and they that brought her, and he that begat her, and he that strengthened her in these times. After the Second Syrian War, 260 to 253 BCE, an alliance was formed by Antiochus II's marriage to Ptolemy II's daughter, Berenice Syria. But Antiochus II remarried Laodice after Ptolemy II's death. After Antiochus II died, Laodice orchestrated the death of Berenice and her son, to secure the throne for her son, Seleucus II Clinicus. 7. But out of a branch of her roots shall one stand up in his place, who shall come with an army, and shall enter into the fortress of the king of the north, and shall deal against them, and shall prevail. Ptolemy III Oergetes, Berenice's son, successfully invaded to avenge her and reclaim Cole Syria. Ptolemy III's forces overran Cole Syria, Antioch, and Babylon, achieving the height of Ptolemaic expansion. 8. And shall also carry captives into Egypt their gods, with their princes, and with their precious vessels of silver and of gold. And he shall continue more years than the king of the north. Third Syrian War, 246 to 241 BCE, Ptolemy III reclaimed many Egyptian art pieces, sculptures, monuments and cultural artifacts from the previous Achaemenid conquest of Egypt. 9. So the king of the south shall come into his kingdom, and shall return into his own land. Third Syrian War, ended military intervention in the Seleucid territories, and Ptolemy III died of natural causes. 10. But his sons shall be stirred up, and shall assemble a multitude of great forces. And one shall certainly come, and overflow, and pass through. Then shall he return, and be stirred up, even to his fortress. Ptolemy IV, Battle of Raphia, Fourth Syrian War, 219 to 217 BCE. Ptolemy VI, Sixth Syrian War, 170 to 168 BCE. 11. And the king of the south shall be moved with rage, and shall come forth and fight with him, even with the king of the north. And he shall set forth a great multitude. But the multitude shall be given into his hand. Hamilcar Barca, 275 to 228 BCE, First Punic War, 264 to 241 BCE, struggles between Rome and Carthage for Mediterranean supremacy. Carthage was defeated and lost territory to Rome. 12. And when he has taken away the multitude, his heart shall be lifted up. And he shall cast down many 10,000s. But he shall not be strengthened by it. Second Punic War, Battle of Cannae 216 BCE, the Carthaginians and their allies practically annihilated a larger Roman and Italian army. But Hannibal had to retreat back to Africa. 13. For the king of the north shall return, and shall set forth a multitude greater than the former, and shall certainly come after certain years with a great army and with much equipment. Publius Cornelius Scipio Africanus Aemilianus, 185–129 BCE. 14. And in those times there shall many stand up against the king of the south. Also the violent men of your people shall exalt themselves to fulfill the vision, but they shall fall. The mercenary war Trucellus War 241–238 BCE, mutiny by Carthaginian mercenaries and uprisings of Numidians, revolting against Carthaginian control, and ended with Carthaginian suppression. 15. So the king of the north shall come, and cast up a siege mound, and take the most fortified city. And the forces of the south shall not withstand, neither his choice troops, neither shall there be any strength to withstand. Siege of Carthage 3rd Punic War circa 149–146 BCE, the city's formidable defenses were breached by Roman siege engines. Professional soldiers, allied forces and mercenaries were overrun. The complete destruction of Carthage and Rome's unchallenged dominance in the western Mediterranean. 16. But he that comes against him shall do according to his own will, and none shall stand before him. And he shall stand in the glorious land, which by his hand shall be consumed. Gaius Julius Caesar, 100–44 BCE. Triumphant in Gaul, glorious land equals Western Europe. 17. He shall also set his face to enter with the strength of his whole kingdom, and upright ones with him, thus shall he do. And he shall give him the daughter of women, to destroy it. But she shall not stand on his side, neither be for him. Face equals companions, the first triumvirate 60 BCE, Cleopatra the 7th Theophilopator of Egypt, 69–30 BCE, Caesar appointed Ptolemy XIV as joint ruler with Cleopatra in a nominal sibling marriage. 18. After this shall he turn his face unto the coastlands, and shall take many. But a ruler for his own behalf shall bring the reproach brought by him to cease. With his reproach removed he shall cause it to turn back on him. Caesar's military victories in the Gallic Wars by 51 BCE. Mark Antony vetoed to block the Roman Senate demand, for Caesar to disband his army or be declared a public enemy. This led to his expulsion, precipitating Caesar's crossing of the Rubicon. 19. Then he shall turn his face toward the fortress of his own land. But he shall stumble and fall, and not be found. In 49 BCE, Caesar led his army across the Rubicon, sparked the Roman civil war between Caesar's forces, the Populares and the Senate's armies, but was later assassinated in 44 BCE. 20. Then shall arise in his place a raiser of taxes in the glorious kingdom. But within a few days he shall be destroyed, but neither in anger, nor in battle. Napoleon Bonaparte, 1769–1821 CE, the Continental System, 1806–1814 CE, intended to establish French industrial and European commercial hegemony, glorious kingdom equals Western Europe. Napoleon died while in exile on the island of St. Helena. 21. And in his place shall arise a vile person, to whom they shall not give the honor of royalty. But he shall come in peaceably, and seize the kingdom by flatteries. Benito Mussolini, 1922–1943 CE. The March on Rome, Kingdom of Italy 1922 CE, Fascism. 22. And with the force of a flood shall they be swept away from before him, and shall be broken. Yea, also the Prince of the Covenant. Italian offensive against the British Empire, in Africa and Arabia, the Second Italian-Ethiopian War, 1935–1937 CE. 23. And after the league is made with him he shall work deceitfully. For he shall come up, and shall become strong with a small number of people. The Hoare-Laval Pact 1935 CE between Britain and France, which undermined the sovereignty of Ethiopia and the League of Nations, by accepting the invasion of Abyssinia as an accomplished fact. 24. He shall enter peaceably even into the richest places of the province. And he shall do that which his fathers have not done, nor his fathers' fathers. He shall scatter among them the plunder, and spoil, and riches. Yea, and he shall devise his plans against the strongholds, but only for a time. Nazi-occupied Europe, 1939–1945 CE. 25. and he shall stir up his power and his courage against the king of the south with a great army. And the king of the south shall be stirred up to battle with a very great and mighty army. But he shall not stand. For they shall devise plans against him. The Second Italian-Ethiopian War, 1935–1937 CE. 26. Yea, they that feed of the portion of his rich food shall destroy him, and his army shall be swept away. And many shall fall down slain. During the feast of Maskil the 27th of September 1939 CE in Addis Ababa, Haile Tekel Haymanot, Ras Siem Mengesha, and Haile Selassie Gugsa, submitted to Italian control of their homeland. 27. And both these kings' hearts shall be to do evil, and they shall speak lies at the same table. But it shall not prosper. For the end shall yet be at the time appointed. The Rome-Berlin Axis 1937 CE, and the Pact of Steel 1939 CE. 28. Then shall he return into his land with great riches. But his heart shall be against the Holy Covenant. And he shall work his will, and return to his own land. Italy's initial exploits, Second Italian-Ethiopian War. Italy left the League of Nations in 1937 CE for invading Abyssinia. 29. At the time appointed he shall return, and come toward the south. But it shall not be like the former, or like the latter. The East African Campaign, 1940–1942 CE. In the First Italian-Ethiopian War 1896 CE, and the Second Italian-Ethiopian War, 1935–1937 CE, Italian aggression was not opposed. 30. For the ships of Kittim shall come against him. Therefore he shall be grieved, and return, and rage against the Holy Covenant. So shall he do. He shall even return, and show favor toward them that forsake the Holy Covenant. The Allied Forces, First Battle of El Alamein 1942 CE. 31. And forces shall appear on his part, and they shall defile the sanctuary fortress, and shall take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall set up the abomination that makes desolate. The Lateran Treaty 1929 CE aligned the Vatican with Fascist Italy. Papal and ecclesiastical support for the Italian campaign as a civilizing mission to spread Catholicism in Orthodox Christian Ethiopia, facilitated fascist aggression and enabled their atrocities. Italian forces targeted Ethiopia's cultural and religious heritage. Hundreds of monasteries and churches were ransacked, looted, destroyed. Priceless relics, manuscripts, and heirlooms plundered. A desecration of Ethiopia's ancient Christian legacy. To erase Ethiopian identity, and assert Western supremacy, founded by Philip II of Macedon r. 359–336 BCE. 32. And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flattery. But the people that do know their God shall be strong, and take action. League members who withdrew to join the Axis powers. The Abyssinia Association. Afrocentric partisans and native patriots. 33. And they that understand among the people shall instruct many. Yet they shall fall by the sword, and by flame, by captivity, and by plunder, many days. The Arbegnok, Ethiopian anti-fascist resistance fighters, for the Italian-Abyssinian War effort, 1936–1941 CE. 34. Now when they shall fall, they shall be aided with a little help. But many shall join to them with flattery. Allies of World War II who joined the East African Campaign, 1940–1942 CE, having ulterior motives of annexation. Compare with My Life in Ethiopia's Progress, 1936–1942. Volume 2. Chapter 22. The Beginning of New Leadership and the Reconstruction of the Country. The State of Our Relations with the British. 35. And some of them of understanding shall fall, to test them, and to purify them, and to make them white, until the time of the end, because it is yet for the time appointed. Afrocentric pioneers. 36. And the king shall do according to his will. And he shall exalt himself, and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak astonishing things against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the wrath is accomplished. For what has been determined shall be done. Proclamation of the Third Greater Reich. 37. Neither shall he regard the gods of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any god. For he shall magnify himself above all. Führer, leader of Third Greater Reich, 1943–1945 CE. 38. But in their place he shall honor the God of fortresses. And a God whom his fathers knew not shall he honor with gold, and silver, and with precious stones, and pleasant things. Nazi technology, Thule Society, 1918–1925 CE, the German space program 1930s–1940s, German nuclear program during World War II. 39. Thus shall he do in the strongest fortresses with a foreign god, which he shall acknowledge and advance its glory. And he shall cause them to rule over many, and shall divide the land for gain. With newly adopted technologies, the Wehrmacht, 1938–1945, led in new frontiers for conquest, aerospace and maritime. Nazi-occupied Europe, 1935–1945 CE. 40. And at the time of the end shall the king of the south attack him. And the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind, with chariots, and with horsemen, and with many ships. And he shall enter into the countries, and shall overflow and pass through. Battle of Maychew, the 31st of March 1936 CE. Whirlwind equals modern military maneuvers, fascist aggression, chemical warfare, aerial bombings and ground campaigns against the Ethiopian forces. 41. He shall enter also into the glorious land, and many countries shall be overthrown. But these shall escape out of his hand, even Edom, and Moab, and most of the children of Ammon. Glorious land equals Western Europe. The USA, British Empire and Free France in exile 1940 CE. 42. He shall stretch forth his hand also against the countries. And the land of Egypt shall not escape. Nazi-occupied Europe by the Wehrmacht, 1939–1945 CE. The Second Battle of El Alamein 1942 CE. 43. But he shall have power over the treasures of gold and of silver, and over all the precious things of Egypt. And the Libyans and the Ethiopians shall follow in his train. 44. But tidings out of the east and out of the north shall trouble him. Therefore he shall go forth with great fury to destroy, and to utterly sweep away many. Emergence of Allied forces, the Western Desert Campaign 1940 CE. 45. And he shall plant the tents of his palace between the sea and the glorious holy mountain. Yet he shall come to his end, and none shall help him. Interpretation of the Book of Daniel chapter 12. 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which stands for the children of your people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation even to that same time. And at that time your people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. 2. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. 3. And they that are wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament. And they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. 4. But you, O Daniel, shut up the words, and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. 5. Then I Daniel looked, and, behold, there stood two others, the one on this bank of the river, and the other on that bank of the river. 6. And one said to the man clothed in linen, who was above the waters of the river, How long shall it be till the end of these wonders? 7. And I heard the man clothed in linen, who was above the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swore by him that lives forever that it shall be for a time, times, and a half. And when he shall have accomplished the shattering of the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. 8. And I heard, but I understood not. Then said I, O my Lord, what shall be the end of these things? 9. And he said, Go your way, Daniel. For the words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end. 10. Many shall be purified, and made white, and refined. But the wicked shall do wickedly. And none of the wicked shall understand. But the wise shall understand. 11. And from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that makes desolate set up, there shall be 1,290 days. From Emperor Phoca's decree of papal supremacy 607 CE, there shall be 1290 days, ending in the Battle of Adowa 1896 CE. 12. Blessed is he that waits, and comes to the 1305 and 30 days. The Italian army was finally defeated in the East African campaign. Universal recognition of Haile Selassie I, Emperor of Ethiopia, following his formal entry into Addis Ababa on 5 May 1941 CE. The end of the 2300 prophetic days, and at the end of the 1335 prophetic days, is the appointed time, 5 May 1941 CE. 13. But go you your way till the end, for you shall rest, and stand in your allotted place at the end of the days. 1290 prophetic days equals 42 months, started with the Roman Emperor Phoca's imperial decree, 606 CE, and ended in the Battle of Adowa, 1896 CE. 2300 days began in 359 BCE with the reign of Philip II, 359 to 336 BCE. Now, 359 BCE plus 2300 years equals 1941 CE. 606 BCE plus 1335 years equals 1941 CE. 606 CE plus 1290 years equals 1896 CE. Interpretation of the Book of 2 Esdras chapter 11. 1. Then I saw a dream, and behold, there came up from the sea an eagle, which had 12 feathered wings, and 3 heads. Western powers, and 3 patrons of Western hegemony. The Caliph, Papal and the Zionist establishments. Wing equals power, head equals authority. Khazar Khaganate, circa 650 to 969 CE. Ottoman Empire, circa 1299 to 1922 CE. Portuguese Empire, 1415 to 1999 CE. Spanish Empire, 1492 to 1976 CE. French Empire, 1534 to 1980 CE. Danish-Norwegian colonies, 1536 to 1953 CE. Dutch colonial empire, 1595 to 1975 CE. British colonial empire, 1607 to 1997 CE. Italian colonial empire, 1882 to 1960 CE. German colonial empire, 1884 to 1920 CE. Austria-Hungarian empire, 1869 to 1918 CE. Belgian colonial empire, 1908 to 1962 CE. 2. And I saw, and behold, she spread her wings over all the earth, and all the wind of the earth blew on her, and were gathered together. Western powers world exploration, conquest and colonization. 3. And I beheld, and out of her feathers there grew other contrary feathers, and they became little feathers, and small. Contrary equals anti-monarchism, lesser rulers are factions vying for power. Decline of absolute monarchies, emergence of modern democracies. 4. But her heads were at rest. The head in the midst was greater than the other, yet rested it with the residue. Passive patrons of Western hegemony. The Caliph, Papal and Zionist establishments. 5. Moreover I beheld, and lo, the eagle flew with her feathers, and rained upon earth, and over them that dwelt therein. Western powers survive and thrive by the wealth of their colonies. 6. And I saw that all things under heaven were subject unto her, and no man spoke against her, no not one creature upon earth. In the age of imperialism to modern day, Western powers engage in the process of global influence, annexation and colonization. 7. And I beheld, and lo, the eagle rose upon her feathers, and spoke to her feathers, saying. 8. Watch not all at once, sleep everyone in his own place, and watch by course. Successive modern great Western powers. 9. But let the heads be preserved for the last. The patrons of Western religious authorities will later rise in power through Caliph, Papal, and Zionist policies. 10. And I beheld, and lo, the voice went not out of her heads, but from the midst of her body. Western powers recruited from their population into imperialist and colonialist institutes of global hegemony. 11. And I numbered her contrary feathers, and behold, there were 8 of them. Anti-monarchism, Western secular republic powers that abolished their absolute monarchies. The English Civil War, 1642–1651 CE, and the Glorious Revolution, 1688 CE, curtailed absolute monarchy. The French Revolution, 1789–1799 CE, abolished the absolute monarchy of Louis XVI, leading to the First French Republic. In Denmark, the Danish royal law of 1665 CE was replaced in 1849 CE by the new constitution, and became a parliamentary monarchy. The Portuguese monarchy ended in 1910 CE after a republican revolution. The abolition of the Ottoman Empire's empire in 1922 CE led to the establishment of the Republic of Turkey. In Spain, repeated revolutions and constitutional reforms gradually weakened absolute monarchy, culminating in a republic in 1931 CE. In Austria-Hungary and Germany, post-World War I revolution abolished the Habsburg and Hohenzollern monarchies in 1918 CE, driven by military defeat and nationalist movements. In Italy, the monarchy was abolished in 1946 CE via referendum, establishing a republic. 12. And I looked, and behold, on the right side there arose one feather, and reigned over all the earth. Hazar Khaganate circa 650–969 CE. 13. And so it was, that when it reigned, the end of it came, and the place thereof appeared no more. So the next following stood up and reigned, and had a great time. Ottoman Empire circa 1354–1908 CE. 14. And it happened, that when it reigned, the end of it came also, like as the first, so that it appeared no more. 15. Then came there a voice unto it, and said, 16. Hear, thou that hast borne rule over the earth so long. This I say unto thee, before thou begin to appear no more. European peoples called the Ottoman Empire, sick man of Europe, whilst they were in a state of a prolonged decline in the 19th century. 17. There shall none after thee attain unto thy time, neither into the half thereof. Amongst the Western powers, the Ottoman Empire reigned for the longest while. 18. Then arose the third, and reigned as the other before. And appeared no more also. Portuguese Empire, 1415–1999 CE. 19. So went it with all the residue one after another, as that every one reigned, and then appeared no more. Successive rise and fall of Western imperial powers. 20. Then I beheld, and lo, in the process of time, the feathers that followed, stood up upon the right side, that they might rule also, and some of them ruled, but within a while they appeared no more. 21. For some of them were set up, but ruled not. German and Austria-Hungarian empires' colonial prospects. 22. After this I looked, and behold, the 12 feathers appeared no more, nor the 2 little feathers. End of hegemony from the Western absolute monarchies, France and Britain. 23. And there was no more upon the eagle's body, but 3 heads that rested, and 6 little wings. 3 patrons of imperialism, and 6 colonial Western powers. 24. Then saw I also that 2 little feathers divided themselves from the 6, and remained under the head, that was upon the right side. For the 4 continued in their place. The Danish overseas colonies, 1536–1953 CE, and the Dutch colonial empire, 1602–1975 CE, French, British, Spanish and Portuguese colonial empires. 25. And I beheld, and lo, the feathers that were under the wing, thought to set up themselves, and to have the rule. Reorganization of colonization by the Western Constitution monarchies. The Berlin Conference 1884–1885 CE. 26. And I beheld, and lo, there was one set up, but shortly it appeared no more. Italian Empire, 1882–1960 CE. 27. And the second was sooner away than the first. German Empire, 1884–1920 CE. 28. And I beheld, and lo, the 2 that remained, thought also in themselves to reign. Austria-Hungarian Empire, 1869 CE, and the Ottoman Empire, 1876 CE. 29. And when they so thought, behold, there awakened one of the heads that were at rest, namely it that was in the midst, for that was greater than the 2 other heads. The rise of the ceremonial caliphate, the establishment of the Ottoman Caliphate as a purely symbolic, non-political institution under Abdülmecid II on November 19, 1922 CE, following the abolition of the Ottoman Sultanate. 30. And then I saw that the two other heads were joined with it. Papal Rome and Zionist Federation collude with the Ottoman Caliphate. 31. And behold, the head was turned with them that were with it, and did eat up the two feathers under the wing that would have reigned. Fall of the Austria-Hungarian Empire in 1918 CE, and the Ottoman Empire in 1922 CE. 32. But this head put the whole earth in fear and bare rule in it over all those that dwelt upon the earth, with much oppression, and it had the governance of the world more than all the wings that had been. Rise of the ceremonial caliphate, established as a non-political authority, shocking the Muslim world, and accelerating their shift to nation-states. 33. And after this I beheld, and lo, the head that was in the midst, suddenly appeared no more, like as the wings. The formal abolition of the Ottoman Caliphate on March 3, 1924 CE, by the Grand National Assembly of Turkey. Internal reforms, eliminating the caliph's religious authority, incompatible with nation-states. 34. But there remained the two heads, which also in like sort ruled upon the earth, and over those that dwelt therein. Two patrons of Western religious authority. Papal and the Zionist establishments. 35. And I beheld, and lo, the head upon the right side, devoured it, that was upon the left side. The Lateran Treaty of the Lateran Pacts of 1929 CE, ending the papal temporal power over civil territory. 36. Then I heard a voice, which said unto me, Look before thee, and consider the thing that thou seest. Compare with Revelation 5 verse 5. 37. And I beheld, and lo, as it were a roaring lion, chased out of the wood. And I saw that he sent out a man's voice unto the eagle, and said. Isaiah 63, the Emperor of Ethiopia, exiled, to Europe, confronted the League of Nations in person, the 12th of May 1936 CE. 38. Hear thou, I will talk with thee, and the highest shall say unto thee. 39. Art not thou it that remains of the four beasts, whom I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times might come through them? 40. And the fourth came and overcame all the beasts that were past, and had power over the world with great fearfulness, and over the whole compass of the earth with much wicked oppression, and so long time dwelt he upon the earth with deceit. 41. For the earth hast thou not judged with truth. 42. For thou hast afflicted the meek, thou hast hurt the peaceable, thou hast loved liars, and destroyed the dwellings of them that brought forth fruit, and hast cast down the walls of such as did thee no harm. 43. Therefore is thy wrongful dealing come up unto the highest, and thy pride unto the mighty. 44. The highest also hath looked upon the proud times, and behold, they are ended, and his abominations are fulfilled. 45. And therefore appear no more thou eagle, nor thy horrible wings, nor thy wicked feathers, nor thy malicious heads, nor thy hurtful claws, nor all thy vain body. 46. That all the earth may be refreshed, and may return, being delivered from thy violence, and that she may hope for the judgment and mercy of him that made her. Compare 2 Esdras 11:38-46, Psalms 82, and Him Emperor Haile Selassie I appeal to the League of Nations, on the 12th of May 1936 CE. Interpretation of the Book of 2 Esdras chapter 12. 1. And it came to pass, while the lion spoke these words unto the eagle, I saw. 2. And, behold, the head that remained and the four wings appeared no more, and the two went unto it and set themselves up to reign, and their kingdom was small, and full of uproar. Fall of the Zionist Federation and four colonial empires. The French, British, Spanish and Portuguese, then the rise of the Italian Empire and the Greater German Reich. 3. And I saw, and, behold, they appeared no more, and the whole body of the eagle was burnt so that the earth was in great fear. Then awaked I out of the trouble and trance of my mind, and from great fear, and said unto my spirit. Fall of the Western powers. 4. Lo, this hast thou done unto me, in that thou searchest out the ways of the highest. 5. Lo, yet am I weary in my mind, and very weak in my spirit. And little strength is there in me, for the great fear wherewith I was afflicted this night. 6. Therefore will I now beseech the highest, that he will comfort me unto the end. 7. And I said, Lord that bearest rule, if I have found grace before thy sight, and if I am justified with thee before many others, and if my prayer indeed be come up before thy face. 8. Comfort me then, and show me thy servant the interpretation and plain difference of this fearful vision, that thou mayest perfectly comfort my soul. 9. For thou hast judged me worthy to show me the last times. 10. And he said unto me, This is the interpretation of the vision. 11. The eagle, whom thou sawest come up from the sea, is the kingdom which was seen in the vision of thy brother Daniel. 12. But it was not expounded unto him, therefore now I declare it unto thee. 13. Behold, the days will come, that there shall rise up a kingdom upon earth, and it shall be feared above all the kingdoms that were before it. Western powers, successor of the Roman Empire. 14. In the same shall 12 kings reign, one after another. A sequential rise and fall of kingdoms who lead in global hegemony. 15. Whereof the second shall begin to reign, and shall have more time than any of the 12. Ottoman Empire, circa 1299 to 1922 CE. 16. And this do the 12 wings signify, which thou sawest. 17. As for the voice which thou heard speak, and that thou sawest not to go out from the heads but from the midst of the body thereof, this is the interpretation. 18. That after the time of that kingdom there shall arise great strivings, and it shall stand in peril of failing. Nevertheless it shall not then fall, but shall be restored again to his beginning. Western powers, agrarian, religious, political, academic, economic, and industrial revolutions, for regional dominance and global hegemony. 19. And whereas thou sawest the 8 small under feathers sticking to her wings, this is the interpretation. Constitutional Western powers, abolition of Western absolute monarchs. 20. That in him there shall arise 8 kings, whose times shall be but small, and their years swift. 21. And 2 of them shall perish, the middle time approaching. 4 shall be kept until their end begin to approach. But 2 shall be kept unto the end. Fall of the Ottoman and the Austria-Hungary empires. Colonial France, Britain, Spain and Portugal. Imperial Italy and Germany. 22. And whereas thou sawest 3 heads resting, this is the interpretation. 23. In his last days shall the Most High raise up 3 kingdoms, and renew many things therein, and they shall have the dominion of the earth. Patrons of 3 major religious authorities over Western powers, facilitated the European era of Age of Discovery, circa 1418 to 1620 CE, Scientific Revolution, 1543 to 1620 CE, Age of Enlightenment, 1687 to 1789 CE, European Reformation, 16th century, Renaissance, 15th and 16th century, Second Agrarian Revolution, mid-17th to the late 19th century, Industrial Revolution, mid-18th to early 19th century. 24. And of those that dwell therein, with much oppression, above all those that were before them. Therefore are they called the heads of the eagle. Authors and patrons of hegemony. Papal, Caliph, and the Zionist establishments. 25. For these are they that shall accomplish his wickedness, and that shall finish his last end. 26. And whereas thou sawest that the great head appeared no more, it signifies that one of them shall die upon his bed, and yet with pain. The formal abolition of the Caliphate, ending a 1,300-year institution since 632 CE, shocked the Muslim world, prompted failed attempts to appoint a new caliph. 27. For the 2 that remain shall be slain with the sword. Papal and Zionist establishments. 28. For the sword of the one shall devour the other. But at the last shall he fall through the sword himself. End of Papal and the Zionist establishments. 29. And whereas thou sawest 2 feathers under the wings passing over the head that is on the right side. Powers set to rise above the European religious authorities. The Italian Empire and the German Third Reich. 30. It signifieth that these are they, whom the highest hath kept unto their end. This is the small kingdom and full of trouble, as thou sawest. The Italian Empire and the German Third Reich. Reign through post-World War I up to World War II. 31. And the lion, whom thou sawest rising up out of the wood, and roaring, and speaking to the eagle, and rebuking her for her unrighteousness with all the words which thou hast heard. 32. This is the anointed, which the highest hath kept for them and for their wickedness unto the end. Shall reprove them, and shall upbraid them with their cruelty. 33. For he shall set them before him alive in judgment, and shall rebuke them, and correct them. Compare with 2 Esdras 11:38-46, and with Psalms 82, and with Him Emperor Haile Selassie I's appeal to the League of Nations on 12 May 1936, Geneva. 34. For the rest of my people shall he deliver with mercy, those that have been pressed upon my borders, and he shall make them joyful until the coming of the day of judgment, whereof I have spoken unto thee from the beginning. 35. This is the dream that thou sayest, and these are the interpretations. 36. Thou only hast been meet to know this secret of the highest. 37. Therefore write all these things that thou hast seen in a book, and hide them. 38. And teach them to the wise of the people, whose hearts thou knowest may comprehend and keep these secrets. 39. But wait thou here thyself yet 7 days more, that it may be show thee, whatsoever it pleaseth the highest to declare unto thee. And with that he went his way. Interpretation of the Book of Revelation chapter 13. 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. 7 imperial Western powers, 10 colonial kingdoms, 10 sacral claims of rulership. 2. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority. Western powers are the integration of former world empires. Babylonia, Achaemenid and Greco-Roman. 3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death. And his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. Deadly wood equals the annihilation of Khazarian Khaganate. Khazar campaign of Svetoslav Igorovich, 964–965 CE. Creation of the modern state of Israel 1948 CE. Propagation of mainstream Eurocentrism. 4. And they worship the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worship the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? Modern-day mainstream Eurocentric euphoria. 5. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months. Compare with Daniel 7 verse 25 and Daniel 12 verse 7. 6. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name, and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. Israeli proclamations of regional colonization and global hegemony, reinforced by the Western powers. 7. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds, and tongues, and nations. Western powers' support for Israeli regional colonization and global hegemony. 8. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. The USA. 2 main political factions, USA proclamations of the NWO. 12. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. After World War II, the USA succeeded the Western powers, in compelling world governments to comply to the reincarnation of the Khazar Khaganate. 13. And he doth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. Atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki 1945 CE. 14. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. Saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live. With the demonstration of atomic power, the USA compelled world governments through the great powers of Europe and the United Nations to create a national home for the Jewish people, reincarnating the fallen Hazar Khaganate. 15. And he had power to give life, and unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. The USA's ability to successfully support and protect hegemonic policies proclaimed by the State of Israel. 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand, or in their foreheads. The New World Order, Digital Imperialism. 17. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Digital Global Commerce. 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. For it is the number of a man. And his number is 666. And now, this is the preface to the autobiography of Emperor Haile Selassie I, King of Kings of all Ethiopia and Lord of all Lords, My Life in Ethiopia's Progress, 1936–1941, Volume 2. Preface. This second volume covers the history of our struggle from the time we presented Ethiopia's appeal to the League of Nations in Geneva on Scene 23, 1928 June 30, 1936 through the period when we returned to Ethiopia and began to be involved in the continuing modernization of our country, up to the signing of a treaty with our friend and ally, the British government, on Ter 23, 1934 January 31, 1942. It describes the war of politics we waged, and the severe personal trials and difficulties that we encountered during our exile in Britain. In addition, it explains, more or less, to what extent the correspondence we had with our patriots contributed to our struggle. 9 months after the beginning of World War II, we saw the dawn of our freedom approaching, and we left Britain for the Sudan at the end of Scene 1932, June 1940, to drive the enemy out of our country. Described in this book are the details of how we gathered our exiled loyal citizens to support our effort and spent 6 months organizing our military forces in collaboration with the British, and how we entered Ethiopia and, with the help of our ally, launched a campaign, broke the forces of the enemy, gained victory and restored freedom. After the defeat of the enemy and our return to the capital, we encountered some intricate problems with the British authorities in East Africa. However, without losing patience and hope, we persevered through the problems we faced, above all placing our confidence in God and His fair judgment. Our steadfast struggle eventually bore fruit, and we emerged victorious. Even so, our conscience has never been diverted by self-glorification and hypocrisy from believing that this victory was God's provision. To recapitulate, when we appealed to the Geneva Assembly and reminded the nations of the world that, if Europe considers the matter as if it were over, it has to take into account the fate that awaits itself, not a few people saw our plea as a trivial matter. Nevertheless, when the righteous judge stood up to dispense justice, each government regretted the result that befell it. The world also witnessed the limits of the power of all aggressors. Haile Selassie I, King of Kings.